Dame Helen Mirren is in the studio to talk about this lovely book, and you can actually feel the quality.
Let me feel the weight of that book, if I may. That's a very nice, a weighty tome.
That's a proper book.
Good old doorstop there.
Yeah, in the frame, my life in words and pictures. And it really, and I'm not just saying this, I've read some autobiographies that are very scrappy and very superficial, and this is unlike any autobiography we've seen recently, because it really is a lovely history, along with the pictures.
Well, all of our histories are interesting. I always think everyone's life up to about 25 is much more interesting than really anything that happens afterwards.
If you can recollect it, yeah.
And you know, even if in my case you've actually been very successful after the age of 25, somehow it's the youth, you know, one's childhood that's always interesting. And it's rather scary, sort of understanding that one's childhood, you said how interesting, it's historical, it's interesting.
Absolutely.
You think, oh my God, my childhood has become a history. But it's true, it is.
Well, you used to keep journals, didn't you?
No. Oh, on and off.
On and off,
yes,
exactly.
But
this
the
is
whole
what I'm
point
saying.
is I never kept a journal more than sort of 3 days.
No,
I get so bored with it. So this is the first time I actually had to sort of sit down and write.
Was it hard? Was it?
You know, once I started, I almost gave the cheque back to the publishers. I kept it for 3 months because it was sitting on my sideboard. I think I've got to send it back because I'm never going to sit down and write this thing. And then I was doing a movie and I had a little bit of downtime and I just started. And once I started, I was away. I loved it.
Do you know, in the introduction, it's so funny that you say,
I
love this. You say you have a blissfully forgetful brain, and you said this can be a great advantage in marriage. One of the many things that holds us together is that my husband can tell me the same story many times, and each time I listen enthralled.
That's
and
true.
genuinely at the right moment.
Absolutely. Oh, what happened next, darling? You know? I've told you this 1,000 times. Well, a few.
And have you told him much about what you were writing? I mean, have you sort of recollected instances?
No, and I didn't. You know, Taylor and I work in a very interesting and I think rather a great way. We give each other total freedom to do what each other does. We don't critique it. We don't. You know, we're just there to support each other, really. And so no, I didn't share it with him beforehand. But he's obviously read it. Well, he probably hasn't read it, actually, knowing Taylor.
He's looked at the pictures.
Yes. But other pictures, gorgeous.
I haven't worked my way through yet.
Documenting your parents' history, your dad's Russian ancestry, and your mum sounds wonderful.
Yes, my mum was an East London girl, West Ham, excuse me. But yes, very much an East London girl. They met in the East End, my parents.
And you're an Essex girl, aren't you?
I'm an Essex girl, proud and... Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, I certainly am.
St Bernard's High School for Girls.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
I saw a lovely interview in the Times magazine on Saturday where they took you back to Southend.
Yes.
Yeah. How
yes,
was that?
and fabulous because, you know, it has completely changed and yet it's completely the same. So it was really great, and I did a book signing in a small bookstore that's still there. It was the bookstore that I used to get book tokens for when I was in my birthday. We'd go off to Grindley's bookstore in Lee Broadway and get our books there, and it's still there. It's still family run. So I did a book signing there as well as a couple of big ones. But
did you get sad looking back and being in past places? Because sometimes looking back you can get melancholy.
No. Well, you know, the nature of a seaside resort off-season is always a little melancholy anyway, but I love that. Yeah. I find that very romantic and rather great. But no, I'm not. I don't look back with regret, really, about anything very much.